The top stories. Mayor Mottley dishes out more advice to the government. Carnival, as you know it, is off, a victim of cuts. But fear not. And the career of ace Bajan jockey Patrick Husbands is in the balance. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, February the 27th, 2014.
At Courts, every day we bring affordability, convenience, innovation, and style to over 1 million customers in 11 countries. From homes to communities, we are proud to make a difference in the lives of many across the region. Courts, bringing value home.
Opposition leader Mayor Mottley says Barbados is awash with savings. It's just the government that's broke. Ms. Mottley was speaking at a conference of local office professionals. She said the country should be working on new investment in education and health care, such as medical tourism, instead of cutting funding to those sectors.
Failure to implement, therefore, corrective action in stabilizing our situation means that in this globally competitive world, we become takers as opposed to shapers of our future. This does not augur well if we want to be able to continue to chart our own course.
An alternative to the Carnival will likely be run this year by mass businessman Chetwynd Stewart of Kadooment Band Power by 4, after band leaders withheld their support for the scaled-down version proposed by the campus administration. The Carnival is one of the victims of the government's budget cuts, and as a result, a mini version was being proposed, including restricting the parade to the campus grounds and off the road. Nation News understands that the Guild of Students who organized the event are opposed to the alternative plans presented by the campus administration. And band leaders also expressed their dissatisfaction with the whole affair. Chetwynd Stewart has, however, stepped in to ensure that there will be a carnival.
The band leaders who've already gone forward and invested in, designs, launch the band costume, stuff like that, they approached me and asked now, instead if we can help them put a band on the road. So we are in the process of looking at that. We're looking at January, February, March, April. We're looking at doing that sometime in April. What part before we do now, we will go and try to get the normal permissions, like write the police, that kind of stuff. But we'll be looking at a similar route, just on the highway and coming down, just to make sure that, to me, if you stop this year, they'll probably not be able to do it again next year. But more importantly, for all those who have already gone and invested all that money and stuff, it'd be very hard to tell them right now, that it's not going to be a bans on the road.
A new campaign has been launched locally to reduce salt in local foods. It's being led by the Barbados Association of Retired Persons, whose Vice President, Dame Billy Miller, said they would be approaching supermarkets to promote more low-salt options. Doctors say eating too much salt can cause raised blood pressure, which increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. The financing of education has become a hot-button issue since government said it would stop paying tuition fees for Barbadian students at UWI. And so the Parent-Teacher Association of Queen's College has announced that it's seeking to raise $400,000 to provide scholarships for 10 QC students at the university. Officials say they will also use funds raised from next month's day and night fair toward a benevolent fund for needy students.
Children in this area must not suffer because of any retrenchment. If you want to hold this society together, this is an important group, vulnerable group that we must pay attention to. So I would like to see this whole policy extend across the area. And thanks very much to the Benevolent Fund, make sure that children not only get lunch, but we even extend it to school clothes and such like. And we do it in such a way that nobody knows, so there's not infringement on children's self-esteem. We are doing it because we genuinely believe that this is an investment in children.
A Barbadian financial expert who borrowed to finance his university education says he supports students paying for tuition fees at UWI. Omar Gadsby, a Zurich-based senior executive at Credit Suisse, told Nation News that the concept of free tertiary education simply could not last forever.
For a 20% contribution, Barbadian university students will be still one of the best financed tertiary education systems globally. Okay, when you're just providing 20% of the annual cost of your tuition. So I fully support the decision to have students pay a part of their university costs.
Mr. Gadsby oversees $50 billion in mutual fund assets at Credit Suisse, the multinational bank which lent the Barbados government $450 million last year. Barbados' most celebrated jockey Patrick Husbands is awaiting a medical evaluation which could result in the end of his career. The veteran rider, who has won the Sovereign Award for Outstanding Jockey a record 6 times at Woodbine in Canada, returned to racing last September after breaking his leg in 3 places. He's been telling Nation News reporter Maria Bradshaw that he may have rushed his return and is awaiting an assessment of the leg's current condition.
Everything is still on pause right now in terms of when I head back up to Miami, probably about 2 weeks when they start back riding, how my body going to take the toll. So in other words, it could be end of my career or it could be surgery. So next.
So you're not running in the go-kart?
Yeah, I'm going to ride here in the go-kart, but I'm saying it's the cold weather in terms of the steel is exposed in terms of cold. My layer of my skin, as you can see it right here. This morning I had a serious, this morning I had an accident this morning. I walk with the bed, I step out of the bed and
You can look out for the full story from Patrick Husbands in Friday's New Look Weekend Nation. Prince Edward and his wife, the Earl and Countess of Wessex, are on a short visit to Barbados. The Prince, son of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, is carrying out engagements as trustee of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Foundation. Across the Caribbean now, in Guyana, the Attorney General has denied that Finance Minister Ashley Singh was intoxicated when he was involved in a vehicular accident on Sunday. Eyewitnesses were quoted by Guyana television as making the claim that the minister appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. Earlier, this was the reaction of the Minister of Home Affairs, Clement Rohi, when questioned about the incident.
I don't know whether that is true. I read it in the newspaper. I don't know whether it's true. Not because it's published in the newspaper, it is true. And I don't go along with people who say it has to be true and that's why the papers published it. I don't go along with that.
So did you seek to inquire?
I haven't seen the ministers yet. I was busy over Mash holiday weekend. It was a holiday week over the Mash couple of days, yeah.
Still in Guyana, Barbadian lawyer Sir Richard Cheltenham says he expects to call at least 100 witnesses, including politicians and former soldiers, to testify in the inquiry into the assassination in 1980 of historian and political activist Walter Rodney. Sir Richard is chairman of the inquiry. Up next, the sport.
The history, the legacy, the rivalry, the passion. We versus them. West Indies versus England. 3 T20s, March 9th, 11th, and 13th at the Mecca. We versus them.
In sport, paving has begun at the new track at Bushy Park Racing Circuit, exactly 6 months since a multi-million-dollar makeover began. Officials say phase 1 of the redevelopment remains on target for completion within the next few weeks, in time for the Top Gear Festival in May. The circuit is being upgraded to host Formula 3 racing and karting events up to World Championship level. West Indies head coach Otis Gibson says the limited over series against England is important to his team's preparations for the defense of the 2020 World title in Bangladesh next month. He acknowledged that it was important for the West Indies to do well in the series since they hadn't played great one-day cricket for several months. England and West Indies play 3 one-day internationals in Antigua starting on Friday, followed by 3 T20s in Barbados. In women's cricket, New Zealand have completed a clean sweep over the visiting West Indies in a 3-match series. The two sides play the first of 5 T20 games on Saturday. And briefly, one more item on cricket, this time about the West Indies youth team, for whom Tejanarayan Chandapal scored a century but could not prevent a defeat to India in the Under-19 World Cup.
Sports was brought to you by We vs. Them, West Indies vs. England series.
And finally, police in Uganda have prevented women from marching through the streets of the capital, Kampala, in protest at new laws banning miniskirts. Instead, about 200 women, some dressed in short skirts, gathered outside the National Pier to voice their anger. There have been several incidents over the past week of women in short skirts being publicly harassed and assaulted. Even some have been stripped publicly as a punishment. It follows a presidential edict which bans what's called indecent dressing as part of an anti-pornography bill. And that's Nation News for Thursday.